Hey, this is Craig from WPMU, and in this tutorial video we are going to show you how to create and manage events within your WordPress powered website. And we're going to use the Events Plus plugin, which is a premium plugin from WPMU Dev. With this plugin, you can create and manage events inside your WordPress website using your standard WordPress installation, BuddyPress, or even a multi-site setup within WordPress. And much like you would get with the event functionality of, say, Facebook or Eventbrite, the Events Plus plugin brings the power to create, manage, and even charge money for events right inside of WordPress. So we're going to download the plugin, install it, configure it, create a couple of events, and display it on our website. Now, just a couple of housekeeping things before we get started. Here you'll see we're at the WPMU Dev website and we're in the Events Plus plugin area. Of course, you'll download this from here. There's two ways to download this plugin. You could buy it as a one-off plugin, or if you're a member of WPMU, or if you become a member of WPMU, you get it for free. So two great ways to get a hold of this premium plugin, which will do fantastic things for your website. Additionally, we are running just a straight installation, new installation of WordPress. It's a single WordPress installation running the 2012 theme, and we just put a custom header here. Other than that, there is basically a standard website here with one page and your obligatory Hello World post. So download the plugin and head over to your admin area for your website. And once you're there, you'll go to the plugin section, and you will add the plugin, and we're going to upload the plugin. Find or navigate to on your hard drive or wherever you downloaded this, click install, and then you'll activate the plugin. Now, once that's activated, you will see here a section of your WordPress admin area called Events with a little calendar next to it. And you can click on the very top menu item within Events named Get Started. And once you do, you will be presented with a couple options here. And this is the Getting Started page, which basically tells you how to walk through all of your configuration settings, how to add an event, edit events, and then even look at your archived events. So we're going to take this one by one, and we're going to show you how to configure this plugin and what it will do to your WordPress installation. So we're going to jump right in with step one. Before creating an event, you can configure some basic settings, and we're going to do that now. So we'll click on the Configure Setting button, and you're going to get these handy tips with this plugin, and it's going to take you step by step through all the things that you need to edit. So we're actually going to keep this active, and we're going to walk through one by one so you can do this exactly the same way that I would be doing this. So the first topic we have here is setting the root slug, and you can see here it's the standard installation is going to install this in an area called Events. So if you already have a section of your website called Events, you might want to change this to something different so that there isn't any issues with these two things trying to access the same slug. So we're going to call ours Events. Again, we're running a standard installation. We'll click Next. You'll notice this is step 1 of 13 for this particular area of the configure options. Will you be accepting payments for any of your events? We're going to click No for now. We're going to uncheck this. We're going to come back and check this later. So we'll just leave this off here. And you'll notice when you check this and uncheck it, it's going to add different options, basically PayPal. So we'll uncheck this for now. We'll come back and recheck it later. Display RSVPs. So basically what this functionality does is you have the ability to show people who have RSVP'd for your event, and you could show their public profiles, because one of the fantastic things about the Events Plus plugin is it allows you to let people RSVP using their social profiles. So it's going to show their social avatars here. And if you want to display those things inside the event itself, you can do that by leaving this checked. It's a really nice feature. We're going to leave it checked for now and click Next. Now you have different appearance settings here. Do you want to override the default appearance? And this is another feature you'll see in the plugin configuration settings, this little eye for information, and just hovering over it with your mouse will give you information. So for example, override default appearance information tooltip says, check this box if you want to customize the appearance of your events with overriding templates. So what you can do is actually use some of the templates that the plugin comes with, and we'll show you what some of those look like. Now, if you leave this box unchecked, what it will do is just insert the pages and the plugin functionality to your existing theme. Again, we're running a standard installation of 2012, so it's not much to look at. If you wanted to use the different plugin templates that are provided with this plugin, you can do that, and that brings a little bit more functionality. For now, we're going to leave this standard. We're not going to override the default appearance, just to show you what this looks like out of the box. Now, this plugin comes with a range of extras, and all you need to do is activate them here, and it will install them into your website. For example, you can integrate this with BuddyPress and integrate it with My Events for BuddyPress. You could integrate these events with group events for BuddyPress. You would just integrate or activate these things here if you were actually running that particular platform. If you're using the WPMU Dev email newsletter integration, you could also activate that here as well. If you had other things, for example, you have different types of plugins running. If you have the WPMU membership plugin running and you were going to run these events in conjunction with, say, a members only event, you can run that here as well. So there's all different types of things that you can add on here for taking RSVPs, for example. A perfect example here, social RSVPs. It allows people to post their RSVP status for Facebook and Twitter guests. So that might be something that you want to activate. For now, we're going to save the changes here. And then we're going to see we get pushed off to the next tooltip. And if we are going to accept payments, what the currency will be, we'll have this set at US dollars. What the PayPal email address would be if we were going to take payments, we're going to skip this for now. And then you'll notice what it does is it automatically brings you down to the next menu item, which is adding an event. And this is part 6 of 13. So you don't actually have to mess around with trying to figure out which menu you're in. The tooltips will take you directly to it. So this is basically saying we're creating a new event for you. And this works as a custom post type with different types of metadata that we have to enter in here. And this is going to create our event. So we're going to create something here. Let's just say my spectacular event. We've got that title in, we'll click next, and it's asking us to enter the address. So let's just put in any address. Click next. And when is the event? You'll notice here it takes the international format. It's year in 4 digits, month in 2, day in 2 digits, and then the time in hours and then minutes, 2 digits each. So we'll do the start time, and you don't really necessarily have to remember this format because once you click on the start time, it's going to give you a drop-down calendar selector. So let's just select this event, say right now it's the 8th. Let's set it for next week, which is Wednesday, the 15th, and let's put a start time. Let's say it is 10 o'clock. And then let's put an end time. We're going to have the same day, and let's make it a 1-hour event, so it's 10 to 11. And we'll leave that there. Now, if it were a recurring event, you could click this button, but it's not, so we're just going to click next. Is this event still open to RSVPs? And right now the event is open. So if the event were closed, we can come down here at closed, expired, or archived. Archive will take it off your active events page. So we're going to leave it as open. Click next. And we're going to come down here. You can see in this section, any RSVPs will pop into this section. You can also export them into a CSV file for looking at later. And we're not going to have any RSVPs yet because this obviously hasn't been done yet. So you're going to want to add some information about this event into this area. So let's add some information. Okay, once you've got the information in, you will click Publish. Now you can also create categories here. Just like you would create a normal post, you could set a featured image. So let's just set a featured image real quick. Going to look within our media library. Just have a couple pictures of some kids here, so we're going to use this as a featured image. And we'll close that. And let's add a new category. We'll call this one Fun. And then we'll click Update to update that post. Now that has been published, and we have just created an event. So in less than a few minutes, we have basically created an event, created event categories, configured our settings, and basically that's all you need. You'll notice here that if you look at the permalink for this particular post, you'll notice it automatically inserts the slug for events. That's the slug we created in the Getting Started settings. It's automatically putting the current date in because that's the way our permalinks are set. And then you'll see this name, which we created here, My Spectacular Event. So if we click this button and we wanted to view the event, it's going to show us right there. It takes the image that we inserted as the featured image and pops it right up top above the title, which is My Spectacular Event. It has a breadcrumb for us. This is all our events. This is the events in 2012, the events in November, and then the name, which we're at right now. So here's the finish of our breadcrumb. Then you've got basically here, this is the RSVP section. So you can RSVP no, maybe, or I'm attending. You'll see who the event was created by in this little table section here. You'll see the calendar icon, and this event takes place on November 15th. It has an address here as to where this is, and a description. Here's the description we added. So we didn't really put a lot inside this, so it's not really a lot to look at here. But for example, if we came back to the event and we wanted to, let's just take this address here, and let's say you went over to Google Map and we plugged that address in, and let's say we got this link and we wanted to plug that map in right there. We're going to update our post, and we're going to come back to our event, refresh, and you'll see we could pop in a Google map right into the event. So there's a lot that you can do with this plugin. Now, to look at some of the functionality with the RSVP, for example, if I were to click on no, the page is going to refresh and it's going to say, that's too bad, you won't be able to make it. Now, I could also change my mind and click on maybe, and it also gives you another note, or you can click on I'm attending. So it'll highlight which one you have RSVP'd for and lighten the other ones. Over here, you can see this button, see who has RSVP'd. So you can click this button and it'll load the icons of people who have RSVP'd. For example, it shows my public icon here. Now, I'm obviously logged into this site, so if I were to click on this icon, it'll come directly to me. But when other people RSVP for your site, it'll also show their information here with the public icon that they might be using as a gravatar or a social icon. Now, as I mentioned before, this is a pretty standard installation of WordPress. The only custom item we have here, of course, is this header. Now, you might be working with an existing site, which is a little bit more customized, and it might look a little bit better than what we have here, which is pretty basic. But as I mentioned before, the plugin gives you the ability to use some included templates. So if we come back to the settings of the Event Plus plugin, and we use the override default appearance, it'll give you the ability to use some of these different choices here. For example, we can choose a full width archive template for all of our archive events, and we can use a full width single event template. So it'll make it more like a landing page. It takes away your sidebar. And let's see how that looks. Let's save the changes and then come back to our spectacular event. And you'll see here what this does is it brings us to the event, and it uses the title here, and then it tells us when it takes place and where it is. And then down here, it has information about the event with the map and the description that I put there. And then over here is the information where you can actually RSVP, and it talks about who the host is. You can also click this button here to see who's RSVP'd, and it'll show you those little social icons again. So that's just one of the templates included. You can also use other templates. For example, we'll click on the single, and you'll see here theme front page template. So we'll come down here and click Save Changes, and then we'll reload this page, and you'll see it centers the featured image and then gives a little bit of information and then the description we put in. So essentially what this does is it turns this event's URL almost into a sales page or a squeeze page for your event, where it makes it a landing page of sorts. So you could give out this link and have people arrive directly at this and almost turn this events page into a standalone page on its own for your website. And you can play with these different templates, and you could play with the archive templates. For example, you can see your archive. If you come and click on any of these breadcrumbs, we could click on events, and it's going to show us the different events. So if we were to go back here, and we're going to very quickly add another event, we're just going to call this one the second event, and we'll put a little text in here. And then we'll put the same we're going to give this one, put this as we're going to pick another date for this. Make this a 2-hour event. We'll also put this one in the fun category. We're going to give this one a separate featured image. We're going to make this one a little bit bigger. Then we're going to publish that event. So if you wanted to, you could look at the single event. We're just going to go back to our events page. And this is an events archive page where it shows all of the events. So for example, if you had many events, webinars, meetings, fundraisers for nonprofits, you actually have a full events page. So here you see our events with our header. It's full width, and we have one event listed. We're going to refresh this, and our second event will come in, and it shows it right there. And it's in date order from the most recent to the ones that are furthest out. And you'll see here, because I'm logged in, it shows that I'm attending. And these other ones don't have anything listed yet. You can, of course, click on the title, or you can click on View Event to view that information. So we'll look at the second event, and you'll see here it takes the featured image that we put in, puts it up top. It's a small image, and then it gives some other information about the event, the description we put in, the image there. Of course, you can view the larger map, which comes with the Google Maps plugin that we put there. So back to the settings. If we wanted to change the way this events page looks, this is an archive page. For example, events shows our 2 events. If we wanted to change the way that looked, we would change the archive template. That one was the full width. We can, of course, make it the front page template, and we'll save that. And we'll see what that does. We'll refresh this. And you can see what this does is breaks out these events. So it shows the featured image, shows you the title, lets you view the event, and anyone who may have RSVP'd. Same thing with the second event. If you wanted to change that to something different, full width page template, no sidebar. We'll save and change that. And we'll show what that looks. Same idea, except this time it doesn't show you the featured image. So there's a lot of different settings that you can play around with. We're going to come back and show you the calendar look. Save changes, and then refresh the page. And you'll see here what this does is it basically takes a calendar. So it inserts a calendar right on this home page. So for example, if you wanted to have a calendar or an events page, you can create this right under our slug events, and it grays out, or it shows you a colorful version of what day we're in right now. And then you'll see highlighted on your calendar the days where you have events. And if you hover over it, it gives you the date and even tells you the location of the event. If you click on that event, it's a hyperlink to the actual event page itself. Okay, so up to this point, we have shown you how to create and manage events inside this WordPress installation with the Events Plus plugin. We have shown you how to change a few of the templates to customize the way the events look on your site in terms of getting rid of sidebars, changing the host information, and also doing your RSVPs over here where the sidebar would be. So now we're going to get into some of the more advanced features of the Events Plus plugin, which make this plugin really cool and very powerful. So we're going to go back into the settings. And actually, just before that, we're going to take care of one or two more housekeeping items, because we're going to start getting into logging in and RSVPing here. So I'm going to have two browser windows open. What you're going to see here, I'm running Chrome, the Chrome browser here, and this is where I'm logged in. You can see I have my admin account logged in here, and on another screen, which you may see me switch back and forth to, you see this is the exact same screen, but this is Firefox that I'm running, and I'm not logged in here. So the reason I'm doing this is, on the login screen, I could come to my settings and change all of my settings while I'm logged in. And then on the Firefox browser, I'm not logged in, so what you would see here is the same experience that your visitor would get, what it would be like for them to visit this web page. So that's how I'm running this. You may see me switch back and forth. I'll mention when I am switching back and forth where I am. So we're going to go back to the settings of the Events Plus plugin. And to take advantage of some of these extra features that you have, we're going to look at this first top area here, plugin settings. Again, we'll see our standard root slug, which we'll leave alone. Will you be accepting payments for any of your events? So we're going to start accepting payments for our events. That means we're going to charge for people to attend our events. This is a great option for any type of paid event. If you're running a webinar, you can create a sales page for your webinar. This is a really, really cool feature, because if you use things like GoToWebinar or excuse me, GoToMeeting, that system doesn't have a real great landing page. They have some real kind of cheesy landing pages that people can look at your event information, and I'd rather put that event information in a more graphical display, which is what Events Plus does for you. This also works great for nonprofits who are doing events, maybe where they want to get a standard donation for people to attend that event, or even if they are charging money for people to attend that event. So we'll click on that, and doing that opens up the payment settings box down below, where you would plug in your PayPal email address. Right out of the box, this allows you to charge people using your PayPal account. Down here below, you have the ability to let people log in through Facebook or Twitter. And clicking on that opens up your API settings to plug in your Facebook application and your Twitter application. Now, these are two great features, and here's why. Normally, when you are taking an RSVP for an event, people would need to log into the system. They would either need to be logged in as a user in your WordPress site, or they would have to log in separately by creating a username and account. So without having to make people create yet another account, which a lot of people online complain about, you give them the ability to log in using Facebook and Twitter. And to do that, you have to have a Facebook application set up or a Twitter application set up. And setting up those two things is not very hard. In fact, if you come down here and click on these little I buttons, it'll actually give you links to areas where you can create your applications. Now, it might be a little tough for someone who's never created a Facebook or Twitter application, but the instructions will help. And if you still can't figure it out, post a message in support forums and we'll help you out in terms of doing that. But once you've done that, you'll plug in the information for your Facebook and your Twitter. It'll give you a consumer key and a secret key, and you'll plug that information in there. And then when you have your PayPal account set up, you would plug in your PayPal email address here, and that will let you charge people through PayPal. Now the sandbox mode here is for developers. If you have a development account and you want to test this and make sure that it works perfectly before actually charging anybody, you can click on this checkbox for sandbox mode. We'll leave that off so that it's live payment and you can go through there. So once you've done those two things, you've set your email address and whether or not you're using the sandbox to just test, and then you'll set your Facebook app ID to let people log in through Facebook. You'll set your Twitter consumer key and secret to let people log in through Twitter. You'll be all set to go. Again, we're still logging in with the archive template, which is the plugin, the calendar version, and the single event template, we're using the full width, which shows up with the host and the RSVP settings in the right where the sidebar would be. You can come down below and click Save Changes, and once you do, it'll bring us back to the top, and then we'll be able to show you the login to the actual sites. Now, all of those things are done. We will come back to our event, and we'll refresh. And I'm going to switch to the Firefox, which is the non-logged in version here, and you'll be able to see, we'll refresh again, you'll be able to see on the front end, it doesn't look like much has changed, except when you go to RSVP. So for example, if you're coming down here and you click on either maybe or I'm attending, or if this is the visitor doing this, you now have options here which pop up. For example, log in with Facebook, log in with Twitter, and log in with Google. So if we were to click on any of these things, of course they could log in just with the WPMU events, and this would just be a standard WordPress login where they would enter their name and email and maybe their website. And these are our other ones. So you could log in with your Google account. So if you're logged in through Google, that will give token access. You could log in with Twitter or log in with Facebook. So I'm going to show you how this works here. For example, we put our Twitter API in, so we can come in here and click Login with Twitter. And what this is going to do is open an authorization screen here. You authorize Events Plus to use your account. And this is the standard account. So we're going to put our information in here. And then it redirects us back to the application. And what you see here is we've clicked maybe, so it leaves a message saying, thanks for letting us know. Hopefully you'll be able to make it. And then down below, if you see who's RSVP'd, you'll notice it has our picture there for attending, and then as a maybe, it reaches into Twitter and it grabs our profile application. Little gravatar there. So that's what you can see there. And the more people who do this, basically it will just line up in a row with all their icons. And we've RSVP'd maybe, so we're listed there. So that's logging with Twitter. It works basically the same way if you log in with Facebook. It'll pull your picture from your Facebook profile and put that there as well. So you've got a lot of options in terms of logging in using Facebook, Twitter, Google, or your standard WordPress installation. Now we're going to take a look at charging for the events, and we do that by going back into the settings. So we're here in our logged in area, and we'll go back into the settings, and then we're going to go to our events. And let's check the second event, and we will edit the event because this is where the information about payments is contained inside the actual event. So you can come down here, and under the right side here, you'll see under event details, is this a paid event? And right now it's checked off no. We're going to change that to yes. A drop-down box will open asking us what the fee is. We're going to add $100. And we'll hit update. Now we're going to come back to our live screen, and we are going to refresh the screen. And you'll notice up top, it tells you right here. This event takes place on, and you'll see here, we're actually logged in through Twitter. So what we're going to do, because we authorized this through Twitter before, we're just going to click log out so it doesn't show our RSVP information. And then we're going to navigate back to the events page, And again, we have our events page set up as a calendar, an archive calendar. We'll click through to the second event. And this doesn't have any of our login information here. So you'll see our standard event page where we're in the full page template. It tells us when it takes place, the time it is. It gives us the address. And then now it's adding a field for the cost of the event, US dollars, $100. You can see that there. So again, we can click down here and see who's RSVP'd. It tells us the maybes and the definitely attendings. So now what we're going to do is come back up here and we're going to click on I'm attending. It's going to ask us to log in again. We've already logged in with Twitter and it has that information remembered. So we'll just click that again. It's going to try to log us on and of course it remembers it, brings us back. We'll just click back here. It says, great, we've got you marked as coming and we'll see you there. And now it pops up a little message box which says you haven't paid for this event yet. And I want to buy X number of tickets. So let's just put 8 tickets and we'll click the PayPal Pay Now button. And this is going to link us over to PayPal. So this is exactly what it would look like if you were logging into PayPal or the person who was buying the tickets was logging into PayPal to pay for this event. So they'll come here, they'll see the standard PayPal screen. We're going to put, and we've set this as a sandbox account, so it's not really going to charge anything, but it's going to show you the exact workflow, what you would see as if someone was walking through your site step by step. You'll see here it's for the second event. There's the amount, the quantity, the total, and we'll log in to pay with our PayPal. And again, this is drawing from a dummy account, so there's some kind of electronic communications policy from PayPal. We'll just click agree and continue. It's going to bring us into our internal. Here is Timmy Tester, who lives in San Jose. This is obviously a test account. None of this information is real. We'll click Pay Now. And it gives us the success screen and allows us to go back to the account. So we're just going to come back here, come back to our account, and we'll just refresh this. Now, since this was sandboxed, it's still going to tell us that we haven't paid for this account because PayPal is not sending information back to our server. But if this were a real PayPal transaction, you would be brought back to this event page and it would show that you have paid for this event. Now, depending on how you have your settings set up in your PayPal account, you can send your customers emails basically confirming and sending receipts that they have paid for your event. And those are internal PayPal settings. So when you do set up your PayPal account to work with the Events Plus plugin, you will set that automatic email to go out to your customers. And that's a little bit of a helpful guide to let them know that they have paid. And then of course, when you are using an actual account and not a sandbox account like I'm using here, it will tell them that it has been paid for, and they'll be able to see that along with getting the receipt that they get from your PayPal account. So between those two, they'll know that they've paid for it. Also, it's a good idea to put a little bit of information in your event, maybe a contact information or the name of a person that people can contact regarding your events. That's always a good idea for an event where you're actually charging people. Now, one of the last things we'll discuss is some of the other functionality that this plugin gives you. So we're going to go back to the event settings page. We're going to click down here toward the bottom, and you'll see a whole host of additional plugins that you can add. And these are extras that get added with the Events Plus plugin. And you can see here, you can integrate this with BuddyPress if you're running a BuddyPress site. Anytime there's an event, you can automatically add those events to the activity stream. You can also add them to My Events. So basically when a user subscribes to or RSVPs for your event, it'll show up in their user profile and in their Events tab stream. And then group events. So for example, if you're creating an event, you can connect this with groups to make specific group events, and then that information will show up in that group tab of BuddyPress as well. If you use the WPMU Dev email e-newsletter plugin, you can connect this with that plugin, and anytime you do updates to your events, you can send out newsletters regarding those events. And you'll see here, if you keep scrolling down, There's probably about 20 or so additional plugins that you can add to the Events Plus plugin to extend its functionality. All sorts of different codes, short codes that you can add. For example, you can add a short code which displays the next event or even a countdown to the next event. And this is popular, for example, in political sites where you see a countdown to an election date or a countdown to a special date that you want people to see and maybe take action on. You can also add public announcements where there's no RSVP capability, but you're making an announcement about an event. You can do recurring events, redirect to other websites, external URLs. You can also add social RSVPs, and this is really powerful too. What this will do is automatically post an RSVP status update on that person's Facebook or Twitter accounts. So it's really cool if they log in using Facebook or Twitter and they put their information there, they can automatically send out a tweet or a status update in those social networks, which can be really powerful, especially if they have large followings. They can see those social RSVPs, maybe want to find out more information, and then track back to your site. You can also add a weekly calendar as a short code, and you could put that in any post or page. And then if you have the ability to put short codes in your widgetized areas or your sidebars, you can do that there as well. For people who use Mac or the iCal format, you can activate this portion of the plugin and allow them to export that information directly to their calendar. And then you have additional guest list options. So there's a few things here that you can add in terms of your RSVP lists and the way they're displayed. You can actually show names with the RSVPs if that information is included. You can show large avatars or medium-sized avatars instead of the standard small avatars. So a lot of different things that you can do to extend the Events Plus plugin. One of my favorites is the membership integration, which allows you to integrate your Events Plus plugin with your membership plugin, also a WPMU dev plugin. And what that does is it allows you to charge or not charge members of your site. So if you run a membership site, you could, for example, make events free to members or discounted, and then charge the full rate to people who are not members. And this encourages membership in your site by offering discounted prices. So that's a real powerful feature, especially if you use the membership plugin from WPMU Dev. And if you don't, you should check it out because it's one of the most full-featured membership plugins on the market. So a lot of stuff you can do with the Events Plus plugin. Play around with it. If you have any questions, post it either on this post or in our support forums. We hope you enjoy the Events Plus plugin. We hope you are able to make it work for your organization. Thanks for watching.